Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? I had a hard time thinking of what to do for this week, but I thought that in light of the Smashing Machine coming out this month, I would do a video of 5 performances that are unusual for the actor, but unusually great. Because of The Rock's performance in the Smashing Machine, which is making some rounds and making some numbers and hitting some headlines, I thought that it would be nice to go over some other performances that are like that. So let's get started. And speaking of the Smashing Machine, so The Rock in the Smashing Machine is truly great. He is acting his ass off. Now, the truth is, I still don't feel The Rock is the best actor. At least in my opinion, I don't think he is. But I do feel like he is at least a good actor, at least after this. And I feel that partly to why this role is so good and why he is so good as this character is because this character was partly kind of written for him, and the things that he has to do for this character partly plays to the talents that he already has. First off, it's wrestling and bodybuilding, and he's had that for years. I think that's a huge part of the character, him being so huge and gigantic, and he did put on a lot of muscle for this movie, which I commend him for. In the Smashing Machine, The Rock as Mark Kerr is like this giant, strong teddy bear. The way he speaks, it's very light, it's very calming, it's very disrupting, and I like all that. I think The Rock's bodybuilding mixed with his very deep voice, but his calm tone and his disrupting way of speaking really helps create this character and makes him feel like Mark Kerr as a person. I think it's also partly the script. The way Mark Kerr speaks, the kind of lingo and the kind of words he uses are slightly odd. The way he likes to construct his sentences and construct his language and construct his words and his way of speaking is slightly odd, and it kind of adds to the very odd, weird, and disarming tone of this character. I feel a lot of the actions that we see Mark Kerr going through, along with his odd way of speaking and the way he says things, adds to this very calming and disarming tone, this giant teddy bear, if you will. But I feel like in a lot of scenes in the Smashing Machine, he's also quietly manipulative. The Smashing Machine is about, the core of it is about his relationship with his wife, but I feel that his manipulation and her manipulation is what adds to that relationship and the main steps that we see the relationship go through throughout the movie. But I feel like that quiet manipulation, that giant teddy bearness, that slight ineptness, he's not completely dumb, but he does have a slight ineptness to him, which adds to the way he speaks and the way he acts and how odd of a man this character is. I think all of that plays to the strengths of The Rock. I think a lot of why this performance is great as well is because of the prosthetics. The way The Rock speaks, the way The Rock acts with the prosthetics makes it a very uncanny performance. I don't think The Rock is a bad actor, and I do think this is a great performance, but unlike other people, I feel like this performance was kind of built for him, and that's okay. If we can get a great performance from an actor by working with him and using our writing and our directing and all of this other stuff to create a great performance from an actor who's not great, that's a great thing. I thought never in a million years would I ever see a great performance from The Rock. I thought he would continue to do slot movies for the rest of his life, but I think it's exciting that he's decided to do something great. And I'm excited to see what he does next. Lizard music looks fun. Okay, so I've talked about Punch Drunk Love once on this channel, and it won't be the last time I talk about Punch Drunk Love, but Adam Sandler's performance in Punch Drunk Love, out of everything that's amazing about this film, and everything is perfect about it, his performance is the best part. It is the core of the movie. And the reason why I chose his performance in Punch Drunk Love and not his performance in Uncut Gems is because in Uncut Gems, when that performance came out, everyone already kind of knew what Sandler was capable of performance-wise. He just wasn't really living up to it. But Punch Drunk Love was like truly his unveiling to the world that I am an actor and I can act my ass off. I think he's an amazing comedic talent. If you watch some of his old stuff on SNL and obviously his classic comedies, but there's a while there, a middle period in his career where he was making some pretty shit comedies. But I always found that funny because I still think to this day he is one of the best working actors. When he slips into a character and when he can give a good performance, he gives a fucking incredible performance. I think all of the movies where he's asked to give a great performance, he does. And even the movies like Funny People, who fail on some fronts but do try to be dramatic, Sandler's performance is one of the best about that film. I think Punch Drunk Love plays to, again, a lot of Sandler's strengths, but I think in a different way. I think Sandler seems to be carrying himself throughout the entire film. Like in The Rock, in The Smashing Machine, it seems like he is also carried by the prosthetics, the vibe and the tone, the directing and the writing. And I'm not saying that's all impeccable in Punch Drunk Love. All of that is better in Punch Drunk Love than it is in The Smashing Machine. But also Punch Drunk Love's material is a little bit harder to grasp on. Sandler has to be a little bit more independent performance-wise in this film, and the fact that he knocks it out of the park with pretty much zero slip-ups is incredible. But why I say it plays to his strengths is this character of Barry Egan is slightly goofy. He is slightly goofy like Sandler. I mean, he's not a bad person. He's not this evil, scummy villain like we've seen Sandler play before. But he is this normal guy who is slightly goofy, who is slightly off-center, who wants love more than anything. And the way Sandler can play into the vulnerability of a character like that, and the way he does play into that vulnerability, the way he plays into his anxiety and his nervousness and his genuine want for love. We as the audience get to go on that journey with Barry Egan, and it's incredible. From the first scene of him calling the airline company about the pudding cups to one of the final scenes in the film of him confronting the mattress man, we really do see a growth in this character. He gains confidence. This love gives him confidence to protect. This love gives him confidence to become basically a superhero at the end. And I think that's what's the core of Sandler's performance, is the growth of this character and us going through the journey with this character. This incredibly human journey gone on in a very human way. We get to feel Barry's anxieties. We get to feel Barry's love with him. And Sandler plays all of that perfectly. Because in this movie, I'm not watching Adam Sandler, I'm watching Barry Egan. And that's what you want from some of the best actors. Alright, so this is a little bit of a deeper cut. It's not super, super deep, but it is a little bit of a deeper cut than the other ones I've talked about, and honestly the rest of the ones on this list. But Happiness is one of my favorite movies. Happiness is an incredible movie for everything it's trying to say. It's super dark, and honestly, thinking about it now, I probably should make a video about it at some point. But for right now, I'm gonna focus on one thing, and that's Dylan Baker's role in Happiness. See, I know Dylan Baker has done some other dramatic roles, and I've seen some of his other stuff. He's done good in other stuff, but I feel like out of all of his dramatic roles, and this might be a hot take, but Happiness is my favorite of his. Dylan Baker is kind of known as this kind of background character actor. I think of him doing more goofy comedy stuff, but he seemed more like a straight man. He was Dr. Connors in the Spider-Man movies, the Raimi ones. But in Happiness, it's hard to talk about his character, especially on YouTube with the guidelines here, but I'm going to kind of touch on it slightly, and if you know, you know. Happiness is an incredibly dark movie that deals with a bunch of taboo subjects, and let's just say Dylan Baker's character is the biggest monster in that movie. But the point of Happiness is to humanize these taboo subjects and to humanize these hurting people, these people in pain, these people in desperate situations who end up doing some very incredibly monstrous things and end up attending with these taboo subjects. And Dylan Baker's character is definitely, arguably, the biggest monster in the film, but the way the script humanizes him is undoubtedly genius, and I think his performance really speaks to that. See, Dylan Baker is a father, a normal father with a normal family. He's basically the American dream of a family and the American dream of a dad, but he has a secret, and his secret is very taboo. It's an awful thing, and it's something that is very outcasted by society. And people who struggle with the same things that Dylan Baker's character struggled with in this film can get over it, but they can also become some of the biggest monsters to ever walk the earth. I really don't want to spoil a lot, but I am going to say that Dylan Baker's character does commit a monstrous act in this movie. And the way we watch him develop up to doing that act, and the way we watch him deal with that act throughout the rest of the movie is genuinely genius. This character is humanized all the way through. This character understands the way he acts is terrible. This character understands the way he feels is terrible, and this character certainly understands the act that he did was terrible. There's a specific scene way towards the end where he's talking to his son and they are both crying, and it is one of, if not the most devastating scene I've seen in a movie. It's really, really sad. But I think this movie is important for humanizing these characters and for humanizing these people, and I think especially that performance and that character is important. I don't think anything that this character does in the film is a good thing. I mean, he's a monster. He commits an incredibly heinous and disgusting crime that he should serve the time for. But the way it humanizes him as he's going about that act, and as he's thinking about himself, and as he is looking at himself and how he feels about himself, feels incredibly realistic. This feels like a character that can exist, and God, should this performance been nominated for an Oscar. But this movie is way too taboo for the Academy to notice it. Alright, I'm going to talk about a more recent example here, Demi Moore in The Substance. I think the greatest thing about this performance is, again, like The Rock, it was unexpected. Demi Moore had done a lot of movies in the past, but none of them were great, none of them were interesting, and her performances were never the best part, or never the most interesting thing about them. I haven't seen every Demi Moore movie, so I might be wrong there, but from what I know about her career, she's not a very interesting actress, and she's not known for doing these interesting or prestige films. But The Substance, which really shouldn't be an Oscar film. I mean, it doesn't make sense why it is. I'm so glad it was. And I'm so glad it was nominated for everything it was. I'm so glad it won what it won. But Demi Moore's performance is surprisingly vulnerable. It's no secret that the character that Demi Moore is playing, Elizabeth Sparkle, is going on the same kind of journey that Demi Moore would be going on at this point in her career. And so that's why the way she plays this character feels very honest and very vulnerable. She feels like she is opening herself up to the audience, and she's letting us see. And that's why she created a great performance that was, yes, Oscar-worthy. The quiet judgments of her body is also some of the best stuff in the film. But I feel like also the monster work, when certain things happen towards the end of the film, and Demi Moore becomes more monster-esque and more monster-like. It's fun to see, and Demi Moore really commits to it. You can tell that she saw this role, and she decided it was something important to her, so she committed everything to it. And I commend that incredibly, because it's great. This performance wouldn't even be half as good as it is if Demi Moore didn't go the full mile and fully be vulnerable, fully give herself to the performance, and just stick with it. It really works. It's really great, and honestly, after seeing the film, I can't think of more perfect casting than Demi Moore. It's definitely her best performance from what I've seen from her, but I doubt there's anything better. This film is incredible. Demi Moore is especially incredible in it. I hope Demi Moore switches to doing more work like this in this latter part of her career. This last one, like Punch Drunk Love, is another film that's near and dear to my heart, and that's Nicolas Cage in Adaptation. Now, At this point in his career, Nicolas Cage had done some prestige films. He had done a lot of Oscar-worthy stuff. He had given a lot of great performances. This was before Nicolas Cage went off the deep end. But I don't think Nicolas Cage had ever given a performance this vulnerable before. But a lot like Sandler in Punch Drunk Love, this character is very goofy. He's weird, he's off-color. And I'm surprised how perfectly Cage played it. Cage usually plays this cool guy or this rich guy or, you know, the more masculine stereotypes of characters. But when he plays someone who's more closed off, who's more goofy of a person, who's a more quieter and softer person than the characters he usually plays, I don't expect him to pull it off. And I also don't expect to look at Nicolas Cage on screen and see, yeah, and fully believe that that's the character he is, but I do. I mean, besides by adaptation being one of the best written movies ever, I don't think there's a better writer in Hollywood than Charlie Kaufman, but I think this film wouldn't work without a great two core performances, and especially it being a twin movie. I mean, the main character of Charlie Kaufman is very vulnerable. He's very soft-speaking, but his twin is more of a goofy guy. He's kind of a comedic relief character until some things happen at the end. The way that Cage can, again, go through a journey on screen, we can see this man grow and change and see this artist go through trials and tribulations. It feels very realistic. I don't know if we're ever going to get a performance like this from Cage ever again. I still hold dear that we can get another great performance from Nicolas Cage. I mean, we have in recent times, but they're more few and far between. But I am excited to see what Cage does next, because honestly, I think we're at a point in his career where people are getting nostalgic for him, and he's kind of old enough in the industry that I hope they start casting him in more cool stuff. I know he's still getting cast in some pretty terrible shit, but hopefully we'll see something. And that's it for this week. Thank you everyone who watched the video. Share this video with a friend if you think that you have any friends who would enjoy this. I really would love more people to watch my content. I'm super excited about making more content. I have some video ideas in the future that I'm excited about making, but they might be longer form stuff. They might take more time to make. So I'm going to try to release one video every week, but if that can't happen, then that can't happen. You know how it is. But, yeah. Alright, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you all next time.